I'm very happy to have my next guest join us. He's a very talented musician who just dropped a brand new EP called Blood Sugar. Kid Bloom.
Thanks
How
for
are
having
you?
me. And thank you for that. I'm very glad you like it.
Yes, indeed. How are you? Where are you?
I'm in the very hot valley of California. It's San Fernando Valley, Studio City to be exact.
Wow. And this looks very quaint. You're in a shaded area. Is this a private studio? Is this your home?
It is actually my home, and right there in that very, very sketchy looking dungeon area is where I make music.
Wow.
Would you like to see it?
Sure, if you're willing to.
Yeah, of course. The only thing you're gonna have to just if you see any, dirty clothes or whatever, you know
This
what's
is
up.
this
It's
this is where the
quarantine.
magic happens.
So this is my little studio. 1 second. How do I turn this around? Wait. Boom.
Wow.
That's her. I got my little mic set up, you know what I mean? And then my crazy weird alien screen.
That is amazing. You know,
Yeah.
technology, right? It
This is
doesn't
the right format for it, correct? Yes, there you
yeah.
go.
It doesn't take much. That's amazing.
It doesn't take much, but to be honest with you, I'm also like I mean, I stockpile it all in here, and then you obviously like sometimes it's helpful to certain studios have really good sounds for other things.
You know, I've loved these Zoom calls because we get those intimate moments. We always hear about this, mysterious studio, the laboratory where musicians and artists make music, and now we get to
Sure.
see these things in action.
Well, the truth is like I think it can go both ways. I think you can be heavily, set into gear if you're in a professional studio, so to speak. But the other side of that, I think, is when you're like, you're like in your underwear in your room and you have your setup. I think a lot of time is allotted to what you're doing because you're not on the clock. And I think it's just a very holy space to make music. I wouldn't trade it for any studio, to be completely honest with you. I love my room.
Wounded, Surrounded is my favorite song on the EP. I know you
Oh,
have,
thanks, man.
I know Blood Sugar, everybody's talking about, there's other songs that people
No,
are
no,
talking
no.
about, but me, right? I want to talk about what I like.
That's all that matters, man.
And Wounded, Surrounded, man, where did that come from? Give me the origins of that one.
I was just making this beat, and I think what was cool about that song is like I finished the beat and was like all alone in my house, and was like, okay, I'm gonna sing on this. We'll see what happens, and it just kind of poured out of me all at once, and it was kind of just sung in completion in an hour, and then what was so cool about that song was I kind of felt I had, it was captured in that moment. So to be honest with you, Pete, there really wasn't much to that besides like I was drilling that into my head the whole time while making it. And then kind of the melodies were kind of swinging over it already for me. And then when I came to saying it, I think it only came down to lyrics. And I'd gotten in a really bad fight with my girlfriend at the time. And that's what I was like so vulnerable, like trying to be so brutally honest on this track.
Would you say that you're really tough on yourself in terms of the lyrics, like just really poking fun at yourself and giving yourself like a hard time?
All the time. I think I give myself. I'm very tough on myself in general. But lyrically, I think, man, it drives me crazy. Sometimes it can drive me crazy because I just think like there's also a gravity in saying something without too much thought to it, as much as there is saying something that has preemptive thought or, very eloquently put. I think they can both be eloquent, but I think there's a magic to both, especially in music. And sometimes you can just get lost in being too wordy and too cheesy. And I think it's really hard to like, okay, where am I coming from with this, and like how can I make it relatable but also just not compromise any of my own truth on the subject. You know?
Interesting you bring that up. How much are you taking into account the listeners and the people that are listening? Because you try to walk that fine line of making music for yourself.
I think the brutal truth of it is no one's listening to me because I'm making music for them. You know? I don't listen to Tame Impala and think, oh, this is for me. I think like, oh, where the is this guy at right now? You know, like I think the brutal truth of it is actually as an artist, if you start making music for, oh, they're gonna like this, chances are it's gonna suck. And I think that's something I had to figure out too. Definitely had to figure out. Because it wasn't until I was just like, okay, what do I want to make? I'm sorry, I just cursed. I don't know if that's allowed.
No, go ahead.
But what if this is what I want to make? And also not even thinking about it at all. Just like sit and do something. Paint a picture. Just do it. And if it's bad, it's bad. No one has to hear it. But if it's good, you discover something new about yourself. And I think that's what's kind of been going on with me lately. Is just I don't really know what I'm doing, but
this is good. This is good. I encourage you. I mean, I'm a nobody, but I encourage you to do more
You're not
of that.
P. No one on a Zoom call is a nobody.
That's right. We have our own personal meeting ID, so we are a somebody. Each one of us.
No, I'm kidding, but you're definitely not a nobody.
But you hit it on the head because Wounded Surrounded, you just said you don't know what you're doing. You're just putting it out there and boom, you touched me. I resonated with it. That's awesome. So
I love that. And
the more you do that,
yeah,
the more you do that, the better, I think. And so you also have in one ear that you pulled Jesse Rutherford in. And,
yes.
And how much did you pay him? How much did you pay him to do some vocals and work on that?
I actually, if I can be completely honest, I ended up paying him out of just being cordial, and he's a friend of mine and I want professional. I ended up giving him a feature fee through my label. But to be honest with you, he is a gentleman and he never asked for anything, and he was already on the song and agreed to have it come out before I had paid him. So he was like, this is amazing. And I maybe shouldn't have even disclosed that I paid him because it wasn't even a thing.
Is Blood Sugar kind of a prelude for something bigger that we should expect, or?
For sure.
What is going on?
Absolutely. I'm working on an album right now that I'm very excited about. I'm just really excited. I feel like it's very me and very true to what I like. You know what I mean? I'm very excited for it.
Dude, big fan of your music. Can't wait for the new album, and I really appreciate you taking time to do this.
Thank you guys so much for having me again. This has been great.